Hi everybody, this is going to be chapter 16. We're going to find out hopefully what Exodus 22:18 means in this story. I head to the definition afternoon school. That's the shop, the New Age shop. There's so much update Nuala on to update Nuala on, and since my grounding I've had no chance to tell her. Mum has sort of lost the will to keep track of me, meaning the grounding is now unofficially over. Only when I get to the definition, she's not alone. There is a tall, pretty black girl of about 20 by the counter, and then both of them speaking when I come through the door. I know immediately that she isn't a customer. I'm used to walking into the definition and finding Nuala with an old friend or a famous spiritualist, but there's something immediately unsettling between the two of them. A feeling that a great struggle is happening or is about to happen. Hey, I say, or hi, I say, and then because I don't want the women to think that I'm just a random customer. Hey, Nuala. The woman looks from me to Nuala, her eyebrows raised. She doesn't look very impressed. Finn, you said you would close the shop, and says as if her presence in the definition was entirely dependent on it. She has a faintly European accent and lilt that could be anything from a dismissiveness to says French, or dismissiveness that says French. I remember then the letter to France and Nuala sent weeks ago. This woman is obviously the recipient. I know, Nuala says, rubbing her temples. Maeve, this is a bad time. Can we? Sure, I say shortly. Is everything okay? Yup, I reply quickly. Is everything okay with you? Nuala waves her hand at me. No, it's not. This is just a private conversation, extremely private, the woman adds, with a tone that says, were you born without manners? I want to dislike her because she's being rude to me, but even though her unpleasantness, I can sense a wary tender anxiety. Her nails are bitten raw. Her mind reaches out to hers, and I see something golden and pink shimmering with hope and the fear of disappointment, but I can't go any further than that. I can't see what she's thinking or what she's thinking of. My head feels cloudy and hot. This is Manon, Nuala says apologetically. She's Manon, shoots her a look. She's here from France, Nuala finishes. Sorry, I replied, because I'm not sure what else to say. Is everything okay, Maeve? Nuala asks again. You don't look well. I'm fine, I assure her as I leave. But I'm not well. It seems it's one of those things that I only notice after Nuala points it out. My body feels heavy and sore. My skin's too tight. I start to shiver at the bus shelter, sitting on the slanting red bench, my warm head against the plexiglass screen. When I get home, Mum takes one look at me, and her anger at the cheating finally melts away. Pet, you look awful. Have you got the flu? I don't know, I say, but it comes out. I gotta go. Mum keeps me home from school until Friday. I'm not completely well, but, she says, it will be better for me to go back on Friday and then have a rest and then start the week properly. When I get back, the atmosphere has shifted, albeit subtly. The graffiti hasn't been cleaned from my locker, and I see signs for an after-school club. The future girls for getting ready about abstinence and prevention. But that's not all. There is a stiffness to everyone, a rigidity. People seem to talk less. The bright sound of hallway chatter, usually almost as deafening, feels more like a soft hum. Their expressions are different too. There's a glassy quality to everybody. A first year drops her book in front of me, and when I bend down and give it to her, she takes a moment to reach out and take it. In fact, she gropes vaguely at the air next to it. Are you okay? I say, wondering if the flu that has made me briefly dopey has made everyone else a bit slow too. Your skirt, she says, as if she's just seeing me. Your skirt is extremely short, she says. It like my skirt is something unpleasant in a dream. I look down. I'm wearing an A-line skirt that stops just above my knees. What? Has everybody gone weird since I took a few days off of school? Or has the atmosphere been slowly souring for weeks now, and the time away only made me see everything has gone weird? I say to Fiona at lunch, I feel like the children have got their hooks in the school somehow. She picks at the dirt under her nails with a scalpel she stole from the art room. Yep, I don't know. This kind of crap, it's always more alive in small towns, isn't it? The fact that this crap is popular tells you everything you need to know about Kilbeg. I shake my head. No, that can't be. This isn't what it is like, Fiona. You know that. Kilbeg has always been really liberal. She narrows her eyes at me. If you are white, yeah, I can see why you would probably think that. My gut goes sour. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to say it was perfect, but it wasn't like this. Like, didn't basically everyone in Kilbeg vote for marriage equality and for reproductive rights? She shrugs. I don't know. I take out my phone and start searching for the voter records. Yeah, see, proportionally, Kilbeg had one of the highest amounts of yeses for votes for gay marriage and repeal the 8th. That's something that must be to do with Irish law. And repeal the 8th. I show her my screen, but she doesn't look very interested. Backlash, she shrugs. It always happens. Look at America. Obama, then Trump. It's just how it goes. It is not how it goes. I hear how shrill my voice sounds. See Fiona winch and try to dial down the aggression. Okay, sometimes it goes like that, but sometimes it's happening here. The fact that the children of Bridget are involved, that we know they have magic there. And I have to pause a moment, sorry. Why is that my problem, though? She snaps. Who cares why people are horrible? All I care about is getting out. And you should too, Maeve. I feel furious with her. You don't have to love your home. You don't have to think it's perfect. but you should at least want to protect it, right? What happens if everyone leaves? What happens when everyone goes to the big city? Do big cities just become the only real places in the world? I watch Fiona dig under her nails with the scalpel, and then I see her hit the skin underneath. Blood starts to well up under the nail, and she watches it with interest. I feel queasy. She's still doing it, then still experimenting with her gift in the worst way I can think of. Why do you do that? She shrugs again. It's interesting. We are silent. Finally, I can't take it anymore. Did you ever think, I begin, the tears already crackling in my throat, that when you move to Dublin you'll hardly see me anymore, or Lily, or Rue, or your theatre friends? Fiona frowns. But even if I stayed in Kilbeg, I wouldn't see much more of Rue or Lily. Lily still wants to go to the Galway, and Rue will be touring half the time. She pauses, digs the scalpel even further. My theatre friends are all older and they treat me like I am a kid. I'm kind of done with them. You are done with them? Why? She shrugs. They make me play all the kid roles. They are not even very good. The only person I will be staying for is you. Yeah, I say, pretending to yawn so she doesn't see the tears in my eyes. Yeah, good point. At detention that evening, Heather gives me a book to read. It's an old book, the spine rotting slightly underneath its brown leather binding. I hold it carefully, as if it might fall apart at any moment. The school's folklore collection, I read confused. Thanks. In 1937, the government did the project where it asked every child to record a story from the oldest person they knew. As a way of persevering Irish folklore, Heather explains, it was all recorded here. Look at the table of contents. I flip open the book. Witches, 140 accounts. Hare hags, 41 accounts. Banshees, 367 accounts. Mermaid, 311 accounts. I open to hare hags and start reading aloud. This old woman was supposed to be a witch, and she could turn herself into a hare. Every year the hunts would be out, and they would have no trouble in rising her, but was very swift, and they could never take a wheel out of her. Cool, eh? This was homework for little kids. I gazed at the pages, flicking through. This is amazing. It must be so rare. It is, she says simply. Why are you giving it to me to read? I say carefully, hoping to learn more about her. I just think Ireland has such a rich history of witches, doesn't it? And you are a witch, and you deserve to know it. This is your history after all. I study her expression, wondering whether she means Wiccan or witch. Are you a witch? I asked plainly. In a way, all women are. But are you? She moves on and hands some more career pamphlets. There's a course you can do in media production, she says, sliding a brochure for technical college over to me. Audio, video, that kind of thing. I peer at it, confused. She prods me again. You love music, don't you? You could learn to produce it. I brighten up. I could produce Rue's music. Yeah, she agrees, although I would warn you against, you know, basing your life decisions around a romantic relationship. She goes out to the kitchen to make us some more tea, and I wander around to see to her side of the desk to grab a pamphlet on graphic design from the cubbyhole shelf on the back wall. I don't really know what graphic design is, but it sounds interesting enough. The spots of mold are still coming through, stronger and darker, new black freckles springing through the paint. Heather comes back into the room and tells me that I'll never get at least a B in art if I want to do graphics design. I think she means that Heather, the counsellor, she comes back into the room and she says you need at least to get a B in art if you want to do graphic design. I sigh and take a long sip of my chamomile tea, which I'm sort of beginning to like, even though it's the colour of wee. I just feel, I say, swallowing the hot liquid, like I failed at having a future before I've even started. Oh, Maeve, she says, when you tell me things like that, I wish I could just give you a hug. You have an absolutely enormous future ahead of you. It's perfectly fine to not know what it is yet. You can take a year off after school, if you like, travel abroad for a bit. It's amazing to me that no one has even suggested the concept of a gap year. Yeah, I say, cheering slightly. Yeah, you know, maybe it's the best thing I ever did. How do you sort that stuff though? I say nervously, do you just buy a ticket to anywhere? The idea is frightening to me. Just don't think I'm one of those people who can show up in a strange country and instantly make friends. My track record with friend making isn't that good even in my own language. I can look into some things for you, she says. Really? I ask, and she nods. And for a few minutes at least, the future feels a tiny bit brighter. The school is empty and dark. By the time detention is over, as I'm leaving through the main entrance, I notice that the door of Sister Assumptia's office, for the first time in a long time, is ajar. She's still bustling around in there, and glimpsing her little hunched figure, I realize that I haven't set eyes on her since school started. She definitely been winding down her time spent in school over the last few years, but usually you catch sight of her at the last or at least once a week. I thought it said last at the end of the week, but it says once a week. As I move closer to the door, I realize that she's not alone. There's someone sitting on the couch. I glimpse a woman's shoe. Henrietta, Sister Sumptia says, "You can't do this to me now, or to the girls. They need you, particularly the 6-year girls. You are their year's head." I hear a long sigh and the unmistakable sound of Miss Harris's voice. "I know, sister, but I don't think I can stay. Not with the new program." My first thought is, Miss Harris's first name is Henrietta. Her parents called her Henrietta Harris. It's morally not justifiable. Miss Harris continues. It's poisonous. Usually I want to say that the girls wouldn't take any notice, but they are noticing. Lots of them seem to actually believe this stuff. Sister Assumptia clasps her hands, rubbing one thumb on top of the other. I had no choice in this, she says, her voice heavily with regret. This isn't my God at all. At all. I know, sister, Miss Harris says. I know. This is confusing. If Miss Harris doesn't agree with this stuff and Sister Assumptia doesn't, then how come they are allowing it? I hear Miss Harris getting to her feet, and I back away from the door, rushing to the main exit, my head full of questions. That night, the house phone rings, and my parents, and I look around, amazed. No one calls the house phone. Sometimes I forget we have one. Dad picks it up. Maeve, he says eventually, it's someone from the school. She wants to talk to you. Mum looks angry already. Maeve, what is it now? I freeze, assuming this is about the eavesdropping. Could Miss Harris really chew me out for that, or shoo me out for that? I don't know, she says to her mum. Dad passes the phone to me. I brace myself for Miss Harris's curt tone, but instead it's Miss Banbury, soft voice. Maeve, she says, I'm sorry to call you. I'm sorry to call your house, but I need a favour. What is it? I asked. It's the book I let you borrow. I need it back as soon as possible. I'm sorry, she sounds embarrassed. I have a friend who is doing a PhD in this stuff, and she needs to borrow it urgently for a class. Apparently, the copy at the university has been checked out. Can you bring it in tomorrow? But tomorrow is Saturday. A pause. JC. Of course it is. I'm an idiot. Another pause. I'll see if Monday is okay. I'm not quite sure what to do. She seems stressed out. My parents are still looking at me, desperate to know if I've been expelled. I could meet you somewhere tomorrow and bring it. Oh, Maeve, would you do that? She says, her voice flooding with relief. I would be so grateful. It turns out we live pretty close to each other, so I arranged to stop by her house the next morning. I'm still supposed to be grounded, but as with all groundings, Mum has started to lose her grip on it, and in only explicitly banning fun activities, errands are largely fine. You are amazing, Maeve. Thank you. It's no problem, I replied awkwardly. Bye. I hang up the phone. What was that? Mum asked suspiciously. A teacher lent me a book. I need to give it back to her. Oh, Mum begins to settle. That's fine then. That night I call Rue, still in Dublin, and it rings and rings. That was chapter 16. Well, what is that? I wonder what these strange women are, whether they witches or they are being called in by Nuala to help to save because of the Bridget group. Well, we'll see hopefully in the next chapter. Take care. Bye bye.